credit card? Any answers? Okay. I'm not going to ask you. If you have not used a card, you don't know whether you need it. You obviously don't need it just now. Dad gives you pocket money. So, to my mind, yes, you need a credit card because there are certain situations where nothing but a credit card helps. Okay, you've taken a flight somewhere, you're out of town. You know, these days, like Kingfisher left people stranded all over the country because their flights were just cancelled. Okay, wasn't working. There's some emergency. You're stranded somewhere. You can't go to friends and neighbors to borrow money because there aren't any. So, that time, the only thing that helps you is a credit card. We advise people that makes sense to have one. And the amount that you have is pretty small. Having said that, the credit card structure is such that it doesn't make sense for a company to give you a credit card because their fees don't even cover the cost of servicing you, which includes, you know, giving you a nice card with a number which can be swiped all over the place, the technology that backs it, and to give you your monthly statements, not covered by the fees that you pay. Okay? Why do they still chase people and give them credit cards? Because the structure is such that even your Dilbert says credit cards are the crack cocaine of the financial world. And this is why you need to understand how the system works. How many of you have seen this ad?
Business class tickets for your parents' first international vacation? 110,000 rupees on your MasterCard. Renting a luxury car? 8,000 rupees. Tickets to the amusement park? 5,600 rupees. Watching your parents become children again? Priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
Beautiful, isn't it? So I'm not hawking MasterCard. I keep saying that imagine if the parents knew that that little idiot didn't have the money. He was blowing up what he didn't have, and he was going to pay through his nose. Now here's where the crack cocaine part comes. Okay? So you have this beautiful picture which is telling you every day, bombarding you with the famous Priceless series, that you don't need to have money in your pocket as long as you have a MasterCard. Keep blowing it up, you can pay it afterwards. What they don't tell you is that the interest charges are between 40 to 65%. They claim 20, 28, 27, but this is part of an NCDRC case, that National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, and this is where they confess the rates are as high. The range is so big because, you know, nationalized banks have lower rates, foreign banks have higher rates, so that is the spread. If you roll over your credit, there is no free period. Essentially, when you spend on a credit card, you have a billing cycle. So maybe your bill comes 6 weeks later, and you get to pay it 15%, and you roll over the rest of the money. That's how the credit card works. Now, first of all, everybody thinks that the day they spend money, they have that 6-week billing cycle. It doesn't work like that, because it depends on when in the billing cycle have you spent the money. So if you've spent the money day before your bill is due, then your bill comes the next day. So you don't have any free period at all. Okay? The second thing is that once you roll over, you paid only 15%. And we've had a case coming here of a girl who came for Disha counseling, who says that, but you know, I just went to Goa and I spent on my air ticket, and then I celebrated my birthday, and then we came back, and the next month I only bought 2 dresses, so I think it was just 12,000 bucks, and now they're asking me 1 lakh plus. Okay? The reason why they're doing that is because other than the 15%, the rest of it carries this interest rate. Okay? Now, if you have rolled over your money and you've gone and spent again, then 100% of that is added, and it carries between 40 to 65% depending on where which card you have and what kind of interest rate it carries. Which means that your money starts compounding at such a furious rate that we keep saying that if you have rolled over your money, don't touch that credit card again until you've repaid it entirely. Even otherwise, you're going to pay a minimum of 40. But if you use it again, that's going to be added on, and then the compounding happens even faster. So the reason why we have the priceless ads luring you is because that is the business model of credit cards. If you are the nice guys, diligent ones who spend on a credit card because it's a necessity, and on due date you paid your bill, paid it 2 days earlier, you are not the kind of users that credit card companies want or like, because they don't make money on you. They want you to be like that young guy in the priceless ad who's going to blow up money that he does not have, because then they have you nicely tied in for a year or 2 or more, and in fact some people forever. In fact, in 2008, the maximum number of people who ended up even committing suicide or owning 10 and 15 cards, because then you get into a vicious cycle where someone says, okay, take another credit card and use that money to pay back this one, and then you run out of that cycle, so you take a third credit card and you carry on, by which time you have 3 sets of things that are compounding, and it is just way beyond you. That's why crack cocaine, okay? And you can't manage, and you've seen these, start noticing the newspaper stories, because when it doesn't happen to you, you sort of look at the headline and, forget about it. But there are gruesome stories about people who have killed themselves, and they've been discovered with as many as 40 credit cards. I mean, you can turn around and say, how is it that the companies even issued them? Well, that is the job that people like us do. We have been fighting and fighting with the RBI to say that it is also the responsibility of the issuers to find out the financials of a person and not blindly issue them credit cards. And now working on a consumer charter. The RBI did not have even so much as a customer framework, and Raghuram Rajan said last week that they're going to have a consumer charter, and if you see the latest issue of Moneylife, I've talked about what it's going to contain. We are still headed towards there. It's not happened, right? So until then, it's each one for himself has to know how to be safe. So few tips: read the papers carefully, because every warning is there in the papers. Problem is 99% of the people don't notice it. This is an IRDA ad because there are fake calls to people saying that I'm calling from the insurance regulator and you're supposed to get some money back, and people fall for it. And they said, well, your son has an insurance policy or somebody has. First they get talking. They find out details. Then they use those details against people. And they say that you have money due on an insurance policy, but you will get it only if you pay some 5,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees. So it comes back to a variation of the advance fee scam. And hundreds of people are being scammed like this every day, even as we speak. May not happen to you, but if you're aware of it, you can warn people.